Chapter 91 Quick, get the quick-acting heart-saving pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who will look first? Wang Xuecai looked around, quiet. The entire marking room was unusually quiet. If that's the case, then I'll take the lead. After that, he had already picked up Qin Luo's test paper and looked at it carefully. When he saw that Qin Luo had proved the non-local collapse theory, and applied the collapse theorem to prove Poincaré's conjecture, his breath suddenly became quicker. Old Zhou, hurry. Bring Jiuxin pill, yes, it's in the briefcase. Zhou Haizhong hurriedly dug out the quick-acting Jiuxin pills, poured out a few pills, shoved them into Wang Xuecai's mouth, and poured him a few sips of boiling water. Wang Xuecai's breathing slowly calmed down. Pharaoh, what's the situation? Zhou Haizhong asked with concern. Wang Xuecai clutched his chest tightly with his right hand, slowly straightened his tongue, his face flushed, and he exclaimed, fuck, Qin Luo can't write anything that shouldn't be written, can he? Thinking of this, Zhou Haizhong and Song Baoguo quickly picked up the test papers on the table. Just a glance, they were all shocked. Pharaoh, where is your quick-acting heart-saving pill? Give me a few pills, I'm a little out of breath. And me, my chest is so congested. Point one for you, one for me. The whole bottle of Jiuxin pills bottomed out in an instant. Xiao Zhang, bring the quick-acting heart-saving pills in my drawer and get 3 bottles. Wang Xuecai shouted loudly. Soon, Assistant Xiao Zhang walked in with a heart-saving pill. After taking the rescue pill, Wang Xuecai immediately unscrewed the cap, forgetting to take a mouthful. That's right, just one bite. Without him, I'm afraid I won't be able to save him. During the entire scoring process, they almost relied on Jiuxin pills to support them. Crack. They slapped the test papers on the desk. It turns out that Poincaré's conjecture can actually be proved like this. The back waves of the Yangtze River pushed the front waves, and the front waves died on the beach. Qin Luo was murdered. You say, what did their generation eat to grow up? Their brains have been so good for so long, that the 3 academicians leaned back and slumped on the chair like this, and their deep eyes gradually lost their spirits. After a long while, the spirits of everyone returned. How to beat this score? I suggest giving full marks directly. Zhou Haizhong raised his hand and said, although Qin Luo has not proved Poincaré's conjecture, he has already made a big step forward in his conjecture. This kind of contribution deserves full marks. Old Song, how about you? A full score is too much. After all, Qin Luo has no proof, so it is inevitable to fall into the limelight. Song Baoguo frowned. The title of this question is very simple. It is to prove Poincaré's conjecture. Qin Luo did not prove it, but he scored full marks. If the deliberate media's chasing and shadowing affects Qin Luo, it will not be worth the loss. Qin Luo is only a high school student after all, and his mind is not as mature as he imagined. Old Song, I think you are too forward-looking. I want to see that the media dares to talk nonsense. If so, don't blame me, Zhou Haizhong, for being rude. Zhou Haizhong laughed loudly. It's also true that if something goes wrong, it's up to us old men to take care of it. Okay, we agree to get a full score. Wang Xuecai slapped the table and said loudly. In the early morning 2 days later, the sun shone through the haze to the land of Yanjing. An important day ushered in on the campus of Yan University. The results of today's national final will be announced on the official website. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the national final result query system was opened on time. You only need to enter the admission ticket number and ID number to query. Chapter 92 The smog in Yanjing is heavy again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 503 dormitories, Qin Luo and other contestants are gathering together at this moment, waiting for the announcement of the final results. The national final score query system has been opened. Please log into your account to check your scores. Whoa! In the 4-person dormitory, 2 of them jumped up, Huang Zhen, Gong Yi. Although they already had the answer to their grades in their hearts, when the system opened, their little hearts still jumped wildly. What if the marking teacher can give you 2 cents for ink? Click on the web page, enter the admission ticket, ID card, and the score will appear on the paper. Huang Zhen, 2 points. Oh, it's really just ink money. Gong Yi, 0 points. No ink money. Lin Shanshan, 5 points. Lin Shanshan was beaming with joy. A ray of light shot out from the little fat man Gong Yi's eyes. 2 points, 0 points, 5 points, in addition to Qin Luo's points, plus the good points in the first half before. Let him see the dawn of the championship. Maybe it can really be a team champion. The premise is that Qin Luo scored a good score, at least 10 or more. Boss, what are you looking at? He looked at Qin Luo. I'm looking at America in the distance. Gong Yiqiang endured the twitching of the corners of his mouth and continued to ask, don't you check the score? You can help me check. Qin Luo threw down his admission ticket and ID card, and pushed out the door, refreshed the page and entered the number. The next moment, congratulations went dark, and fell to the ground with a thud. I need a quick-acting heart rescue pill. Qin Luo, 80 points, full marks C full marks, and in the national finals, facing such world-class problems as the Poincaré conjecture. What's the situation? Huang Zhen came over, picked up the phone, plopped his feet softened, and knelt on the ground. GXIN pill, I want to save XIN pill. In an instant, in the 4-person dormitory, only one was left panting. Is this so terrible? Lin Shanshan put her toes on her toes and carefully bypassed the 2 limp and ran towards the pharmacy. Boss, give me a quick-acting heart-saving pill. 1 bottle, 2 bottles, 3 bottles. Inventories in pharmacies are bottoming out quickly. Seeing the scene of Bai Chong holding the pills and rushing off, the middle-aged boss shook his head and took out the phone from his pocket. Hello, is the pharmaceutical company? Send me 100 bottles of Suxiao Jiuxin pills. What's the reason? The haze is getting worse. Brother Sun, have you checked the score? Brother Sun, how many points did you get? In the dormitory of the Central China team, Sun Hua was full of pride. He just checked the score, and in the second half his score was as high as 13 points. 90% of the people are on the test with 0 marks. His score is already outstanding, and it is almost impossible for anyone to score higher than him. Moreover, according to his information, so far, only one person has a higher score than him, and her name is O Yilin. Qin Luo, let him swim in the salted fish pile. No matter how much you write, it's the last word to get the score. I made a mistake and only scored 13 points. Sun Hua said lightly, playing mistakes. 13 points. For a time, everyone was stunned. It was obvious how difficult the exam questions were in the second half, but Sun Hua was able to score 13 points on such a difficult question. You must know that even in the entire national final, there are no more than 5 people who can win more than 10 points. Chapter 93 The Poincaré conjecture can never be proved. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother Sun, you are really our idol. Brother Sun, my English is not good. You have to cover me on this trip to the United States. Boss, please have some tea. Picking up the teacup happily, Sun Hua took a shallow sip. Ding, the national final result list has been announced, please pay attention to check it. Just then, everyone's cell phone rang. They know that the final results of the national finals have finally been calculated. The high school affiliated to Yen University has a total score of 115 points, of which O Yilin scored 40 points. 20 points in the first half and an amazing 20 points in the second half. The Central China team has a total score of 97 points, of which Sun Hua has 33 points. The Southwest Provincial team has a total score of 172 points, of which Qin Luo has 100 points. Full marks. How? Are we number 1? Sun Hua asked confidently. Gulu the team members swallowed their saliva and said with a grey face, Brother Sun, something happened. Don't say number 1, they're not even number 2. Problem occurs. Eileen. Show me. He took the phone in his companion's hand and glanced lightly, slap. The sound of a heavy object falling to the ground sounded, and the teacup in his hand shattered instantly. How is this possible? He could hardly believe his eyes. among the many 0 points, a name stands out as if it stands out from the crowd, Qin Luo 100 points. Full marks again. Sun Hua is about to go crazy. It's only been less than a minute since he satirized Qin Luo with confidence, and now he was thrown into the abyss. Impossible, how could Qin Luo get a full score? Sun Hua's face was grim, and his pupils burst out with red light, bloodthirsty and terrifying. Why does Qin Luo get full marks? If it were an ordinary test question, it would be fine, but now it is one of the 1,000-year-old problems of Poincaré's conjecture, which has stumped countless top mathematicians. How could Qin Luo prove it? Brother Sun, do you think there is something tricky in this? Yes, there must be a problem here. Qin Luo can never get full marks. No, we have to ask. Sun Hua's face was sinking like water, and a cold glow flashed in his eyes. It is true that he also thinks that there is a problem here, but this is the national final, the most serious mathematics league in China. How could there be a problem? Bang! At this moment, the door of the dormitory was suddenly pushed open, and Song Qiaodong walked in with a dark face. He looked around and said to Sun Hua, "Follow me." After all, Song Qiaodong turned around and left without stopping. Qin Luo got full marks. He had to discuss this matter with the competition team. The Poincaré conjecture can never be proven. The central auditorium, where the preparations for the upcoming award ceremony are in full swing, Wang Xuecai, Song Baogua, and Zhou Haizhong, who were presenters of the awards, slowly walked towards the auditorium. This award ceremony can be said to be specially held for Qin Luo. Suddenly, a large group of people rushed in. Most of them were leading teachers from various places. They rushed to the organizer in a hurry. "President Fong, we need an explanation. How could someone get full marks? The Poincaré conjecture can never be proved by a high school student. Mr. Fong, we do not accept this result." Fong Ming, president of the Huaxia Mathematical Association, leads the mathematics competitions in various regions of China. At the same time, he is also the head of the mathematics department of Yan University. "Noisy! Noisy! Quiet me!" Fong Ming shouted loudly. Chapter 94. The three academicians revise the paper. You are listening at novelfull.audio. President Fong, we need an explanation. What qualifications does Qin Luo have to get full marks? Song Qiaodong suppressed the anger in his heart and asked in a muffled voice, "Explain." A faint smile appeared on Fong Ming's face, and he said, "You shouldn't ask me for this question, you should go to Academician Wang." That Academician Wang? Which other Academician Wang could there be? Academician Wang Xuecai, Academician Song Baogua, Academician Zhou Haizhong. Fong Ming said lightly, "Wang Xuecai, Song Baogua, Zhou Haizhong, who are these three people?" Three academicians of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, a leading figure in the academic world. Song Qiaodong is only the president of a branch of the Mathematical Association. What qualifications do I have to ask them? President Fong, what the hell is going on? Song Qiaodong's face was a little ugly. He never expected to involve many academicians in Huaxia. It's them who are in charge of marking the papers this time. What? Song Qiaodong and the other teachers froze in place. Usually, the grading work will be handed over to Yan University's teachers or graduate students to grading papers, which is why he concluded that there is a problem. However, the organizing committee of this competition turned out to be uncharacteristically, and a group of academicians from Huaxia personally checked the papers. Those who can be called academicians are all outstanding in academia, and they combine ability and fame. Who can tell me what's going on? Song Qiaodong was a little dizzy. The national academician grades the papers in person, not to mention in the numerology. That is, it has never appeared in so many exams in the history of China. You ask me, who do I ask? Fong Ming glanced at him lightly, his face full of disdain. The original plan was to have teachers from Yan University and some graduate students grading the papers together. However, just before the national finals, Fong Ming suddenly received a notice from Wang Xuecai that the grading work for this competition would be jointly grading by Wang Xuecai and two other academicians. Even he, the president of the Mathematical Association, does not know the reason. Suddenly, Fong Ming's eyes drifted past the door, and Wang Xuetzai and others appeared in his sight. Mr. Wang, Academician Zhou, Academician Song. Bewildered, continue to be confused, watching the three Taishan in the academic world walk slowly, Song Xiaodong's body completely stayed in place. There are so many people, what's going on? Wang Xuetzai glanced at the menacing crowd, his eyes a little displeased. It was a celebratory occasion, but it was made like a trial court by these people. That's it. Fang Ming hurriedly told Wang Xuetzai what had happened. Knowing the cause and effect, Wang Xuetzai's face suddenly turned gloomy. He glanced sharply around and said aloud, "Why full marks?" The reason is very simple. If any of you can prove the non-local collapse theorem and open a new gap for the proof of Poincaré's conjecture, then you can also get full marks. Wang Xuetzai's voice echoed throughout the auditorium and roared in everyone's minds. Song Xiaodong's eyes darkened, and a buzzing sounded in his mind. This is impossible. He screamed wildly in his heart. Wang Yuan, what do you mean? Qin Luo has proved the non-local collapse theorem. Song Xiaodong asked with a confused expression. That's right. Wang Xuetzai nodded and said, we have written his answer sheet into a thesis and sent it to Princeton. I believe it will not be long before it will appear in a mathematical journal. Wang Xuetzai, Song Baogua, Zhou Haizhong, the three academicians revised the thesis by hand. Chapter 95 The Pain of Unable to Breathe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If it is said, he still had doubts before, but now, with Wang Xuetzai's affirmative answer, the slightest doubt in his heart has long since vanished. Qin Luo, he really proved the non-local collapse theory. At this moment, Song Haidong's face was ashes, and the living reality gave him a heavy slap. Standing behind Song Xiaodong, Sun Hua's face was pale, and his whole body shook violently like an electric shock. Pfft. The next second, his legs softened, his body staggered, and he fell directly to the ground. Not only did he lose, but he lost so badly that it could be said to be a complete defeat. Once upon a time, he still provoked Qin Luo with great interest and despised Qin Luo, but now it seems that those provocative words are like knives, stabbing him in his heart one by one, making him unable to breathe. He said that now he can't understand why Qin Luo is so good. Ding, the host's knowledge stunned everyone, and the academic value is plus 154. Ding, the host's knowledge stunned everyone, and the mastery value plus 288. Ding, the host's knowledge stunned everyone, and the mastery value plus 214. Qin Luo, who was walking halfway, was completely stunned by this series of prompts. He was notified to attend the final award ceremony of the national finals, but just as he was halfway through, a series of prompts came from the system. In just a few seconds, the Shuaba value soared by more than 2,000 points, and most of them are unknown names. What's the matter? Qin Luo looked around blankly and found nothing unusual. What's going on? He is blinded. Ding, Daline's exclamation was detected, and the host's mastery value is plus 9,999. Pfft. Qin Luo's legs softened and he fell to the ground. What's going on? Feng Huadong said with a faint smile. The legs are a little soft. Qin Luo said. A sneer flashed in everyone's eyes. Where did this go? And it was unsteady. Hee, funny. Feng Huadong even snickered to himself. For a long time, Qin Luo gave him the impression that he was young and mature, and being with him was like being an academician of the Academy of Sciences, but now, he suddenly saw Qin Luo's innocent side. However, they didn't know that Qin Luo was not because he was going to receive the award, but was shocked by the system's prompt. 9999, my God, am I right? So far, Qin Luo has received only a maximum of 999 as a scholar, but now it is 9,999. He once suspected that the system had played an extra 9. Get rich overnight, no, get rich in seconds. It only took 1 second for Qin Luo to change from a poor man to a wealthy rich man. Also, who is this Daline? I do not know. After about half a minute, Qin Luo slowly stood up from the ground. Qin Luo, don't be afraid, isn't it just an IMO, it's just a piece of cake for you. Feng Huadong patted Qin Luo's shoulder heavily, and said with a smile, "You can rest assured when the time comes. We'll go with you. Mr. Feng is right, don't be afraid, boss, we will go together too. Big brother, I heard that the coffee in the United States is good. I will bring you coffee when the time comes." Not afraid? Am I the one who is afraid? Qin Luo held back his mouth, turned to look at Feng Huadong, and asked casually, "Mr. Feng, do you know who Deline is?" Deline. Feng Huadong was stunned for a moment. He did not expect Qin Luo to ask such a question. Professor Deline's resume could not be finished in 3 days and 3 nights. Chapter 96. Please keep your anger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Professor of Princeton University, famous in the academic world, the disciples he taught cover all fields of mathematics. Feng Huadong said with familiarity. "Why, are you interested in him? Ask whatever you want." "Princeton." Qin Luo muttered, turned his head and walked towards the school auditorium. Boom! Qin Luo pushed open the door of the auditorium. The next moment, the eyes were like lasers, and they were shining, burning heat, resentment, and a trace of resentment. Ben Shuaba wants to keep a low profile, but his strength doesn't allow it. Qin Luo pulled the corner of his clothes and strode into the auditorium with his head held high. Qin Luo seemed to be reviewing the troops. He walked slowly, and occasionally said hello to the students next to him. "Hello, classmate, I'm Qin Luo." "That's right, that's the only perfect score. Come on, classmates, I'll be waiting for you at the finish line." What is a saw bow? This is a saw bow, but unfortunately, others have the qualifications for this slapstick. For a time, everyone was angry. Ding, the host's mastery value plus 11. Ding, the host's mastery value plus 45. Qin Luo's heart is full of joy. In the scarlet eyes of everyone, Qin Luo stepped onto the podium. Qin Luo, some people say that the national final exam questions are very difficult, and those who can solve the answer are perverted. What do you want to say about this? Asked a handsome hostess. Is it difficult? I think it's very simple. Qin Luo didn't even think about it, and said directly, just take a look and you can figure it out. Creak, squeak. There was a series of gnashing noises from the stage. The host was quite embarrassed, but as a professional host in the broadcasting department, she still resisted the urge to kick Qin Luo and continued to ask, "Student Qin has already opened a door for Poincaré's conjecture, and we will continue in the next chapter. Analyze it? It's not necessary." Qin Luo smiled lightly and said, "My next goal is Goldbox conjecture. Classmates, can you play cards according to the routine?" The host was immediately stunned, and even the students under the stage thought they were wooden people, with their mouths open, but couldn't speak. They knew that Qin Luo could blow, but they never expected that he could blow so well. He wasn't afraid to blow off the roof of the auditorium. Even Wang Xuezai and other experts in the academia couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth, sweating all over his face. There's nothing wrong with this kid Qin Luo, it's just this mouth that will scare people to death. The host was sweating profusely, and she decided to play cards in a different way. Congratulations to Qin Luo, as the first winner of the national finals in history. What do you want to say to everyone? Say something to everyone. After taking the microphone, Qin Luo thought about it seriously, and said loudly, "Do I hate it, that the auditorium is silent?" "Sun Hua, tell me." Qin Luo asked, pointing to an old acquaintance not far away. "Hate." Sun Hua gritted his teeth and said sharply, "Even if he loses, he has nothing to fear. Want to trample me underfoot? Nonsense." Sun Hua said through gritted teeth, if he could, he would like to cut Qin Luo into 8 pieces. Very good. Qin Luo nodded contentedly and said, "Please keep your anger, because this is my motivation to move forward." It was as if the suspension was taken, and the entire auditorium was silent. Everyone stared at Qin Luo with wide eyes. Arrogant, too arrogant. They have seen a lot of arrogant people, but they have never seen such arrogance. Chapter 97. Mathematical Journals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Suddenly, someone in the crowd shouted loudly, "I understand. Shuaba, you are inspiring us." It must be so. Shuaba, we will definitely live up to your hopes and surpass you. For a time, excited voices came and went, and Qin Luo, who was the party, was immediately stunned. Heaven and earth conscience, he didn't mean to motivate them in the slightest, he just wanted to pretend to be coercive and squeeze a little points, but he never expected that things would go way beyond his expectations. Cough, I repeat again, this is not an incentive, this is a fact. Qin Luo said solemnly, holding back the twitching of the corner of his mouth. Shuaba, stop talking, we all understand. You know shit. You don't know anything. Qin Luo opened his mouth and was speechless. Ding, the host's knowledge has conquered all the scumbags, and the academic value is plus 56. Scholarship value plus 87. Qin Luo let out a long sigh of relief after a few hundred points of academic hegemony was credited. Mosquitoes' legs are small, that's meat, Qin Luo is not picky eaters. Damn it. Seeing the scene in front of him, Sun Huafei was about to explode with anger. He really couldn't understand, Qin Luo was obviously pretending to be coercive. He was obviously so hateful, but many contestants seemed to be obsessed and convinced him. His face became more and more gloomy, as if he was about to fall out of the water. Humph, I'll see how long you can be proud, when I prove Zhou's conjecture, Sun Hua sneered in his heart, the national judgment has completely failed, Mo is completely insulated from it, and now his only chance is to prove Zhou's conjecture. An imperfect proof of Poincaré's theory is never as good as a perfect proof of a conjecture. Bang! At this moment, the door of the auditorium was violently pushed open, and a man with gold-rimmed glasses hurried in. He was about 30 years old, dressed in sportswear and flushed. Teacher, Princeton has replied. He blushed and held up the envelope in his hand. Princeton reply. Princeton University. For a time, everyone was full of doubts. Could it be that Yenda and Princeton have any big moves? Everyone was stunned, but Wang Xuetzai and others were extremely excited. Others don't know what Princeton stands for, but they do. Show me quickly. Wang Xuetzai stepped forward and grabbed the envelope in the young man's hand. Princeton University, Professor Deline sent, tear off the cover, and inside is a journal of mathematics. Math journal. Wang Xuetzai's eyes suddenly widened, and even his body began to tremble violently. Journal of Mathematics is the world's top and most authoritative mathematics journal, because its publisher is officially Princeton University. His editor-in-chief is Professor Deline. Every paper and every theory published on it needs to be reviewed by Deline, and it is the dream of countless mathematicians to be able to publish a paper on it. Gulu Zhou Haizhong swallowed and said slowly, Qian Shuesen's question may be answered today. Qian Shuesen's question. People who heard this were all shocked, and after a while, they must have doubts in their hearts. What kind of outstanding person can answer Qian Laoji's question? It won't be Qin Luo, will it? How is that possible? That's a math journal. Last time I heard that the Wang Yuan is doing a second derivation of the Mersenne primes. I think it's probably him. Chapter 98 Theorem from Conjecture. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Both teachers and students are talking about it, not caring about everyone's discussion. Wang Xuetzai carefully opened the journal. To be honest, he was a little worried. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment, and he was afraid that it would be nothing in the end. Three-dimensional cubic equation conjecture, arguments for the Riemann hypothesis, one after another. Papers on Zhou's conjecture still haven't appeared. It's a theorem if you turn it over again. The mathematical journal is divided into two parts. The first half is to demonstrate some conjectures, and the second half is to expound some definite theorems. Wang Xuetzai was uneasy in his heart and went down. From conjecture to theorem, Zhou's theorem. Slap. Wang Xuetzai's hand softened, and the mathematics journal fell in response. His face was flushed red, and tears welled up in his deep eyes. One day, they finally saw someone who could answer Qian Laoji's question. What's the matter with Pharaoh? Zhou Haizhong hurriedly picked up the journal on the ground. If anyone is the most anxious right now, it is Zhou Haizhong. As the proponent of Zhou's conjecture, he is the most nervous person. Zhou's theorem. The first theorem named after a Chinese. Congratulations, Lao Zhou. Thank you. Zhou Haizhong was in tears. My guess has finally been proved. As the proposer of the conjecture, he is also the prover and the pioneer. However, the failure to prove time and time again made him have the idea of giving up, but now, the conjecture has finally been proved, and the person who proved him is still a third-year high school student. While Zhou Haizhong was shocked, he was even more fortunate in his heart. He is glad that China has such an outstanding student and scientific worker as Qin Luo. Zhou's conjecture has been proved. For a time, everyone was stunned. Zhou Haizhong's words made them a little confused. What the hell is this? Zhou's conjecture has been proved. Zhou's conjecture has been proven? Someone in the crowd asked. Mathematics Journal, front page headlines. Zhou Haizhong raised the magazine in his hand and said aloud, "Silence, deadly silence." In the huge school auditorium, no one spoke. They stared at Zhou Haizhong with wide eyes, the first theorem named after the Chinese mathematics community. After a short immersion, the scene immediately became excited. Zhou Yuan, who is it? Who proved Zhou's conjecture? Is it a Chinese, or a foreigner? Zhou Haizhong smiled faintly, swept his eyes across the crowd, and said loudly, "It's far away from the horizon, and he's in this auditorium." Among us? Everyone looked around, trying to find the cow hidden in the crowd, but before everyone could find him, Zhou Haizhong smiled faintly and said again, "Thank you Qin Luo, thank you for helping me fulfill my long-cherished wish." Bang! Just as Zhou Haizhong's voice fell, there were screams in the auditorium. Nearly half of the people fell to the ground in fright. They thought about Zhou Haizhong, thought about Wang Xuecai, thought about Song Baogua, and even thought about anyone in the mathematics world. But even if he wanted to break his head, he never thought that the person who finally proved Zhou's conjecture was actually Qin Luo. You know, he's a high school student. At his grade, it should be the grade of playing games and picking up girls, but Qin Luo has already proved Zhou's conjecture. The devil, he is the devil. Impossible, I don't believe it. Chapter 99 The Hope of Mathematics. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Luo, how could he prove Zhou's conjecture? That until this moment, he finally knew why Qin Luo would say, "I am waiting for you at the end," because he has already proved Zhou's conjecture and has passed the argument of Professor Deline of Princeton. In the face of everyone's doubts, Zhou Haizhong is not angry. He has long expected this kind of picture to appear. He beckoned to the students beside him, project him on the screen. Soon, an article came into view. Mathematical Journal number 78, Part 2, Page 1. The argument on Zhou's conjecture. At the end of the paper, a list of reviewers' comments on the paper is also written. This is a perfect and groundbreaking paper, and the Zhou conjecture is demonstrated, which has advanced significance for the analysis of Mersenne primes. Princeton University, Professor Deline. Genius always captures that fleeting inspiration. Congratulations Ms. Qin. Johns Hopkins University. A series of comments took up almost the entire length of the film, including the famous editor Professor Deline. Whether in academia or in the Princeton classroom, he is notorious for his vicious tongue. He will never allow any mistakes to appear, and if there is, he will point it out on the spot without mercy. However, at this moment, Deline didn't have the slightest problem with Qin Luo's article, and even used perfect to describe it, which only appeared twice in Deline's editing career. The first time was Tao Zhishuan, the winner of the Fields Medal. The second time was Qin Luo, a senior from Beishan No. 4 Middle School. Bang! There was another loud noise, and there were only a handful of people in the auditorium who could still stand upright. Even Feng Huadong, the president of the Southwest Digital Federation Association, trembled in his legs. In fact, he had already guessed Qin Luo's strength, but guessing it was one thing, witnessing something with his own eyes was another. The impact that the latter brought him was incomparable to the former. Until now, his brain was buzzing. Professor Deline perfect evaluation. Front page headlines of mathematical journals. Sun Hua only felt that the anger in his heart was like a volcano about to erupt. It will be like this. With a loud roar, Sun Hua's anger surged, his eyes darkened, and he fell to the ground with a bang. Ding! The host's academic value has increased by 588. I hope the host will make persistent efforts and climb the peak bravely. Student Sun, how are you? Qin Luo rushed over with a single step. Actually, the process of proving Zhou's conjecture is very simple. I can teach you. You. Sun Hua's eyes darkened, and he fainted. Ding, the host's academic value has increased. Qin Luo. He never imagined that Sun Hua would be so useless. Sun Hua was sent away, Lin Tianxian followed, and the students of the entire Huazhong team were embarrassed to stay here. Once upon a time, they mocked Qin Luo unscrupulously, thinking that he was just a scumbag, but now, the scumbag has become a tyrant, and the shotgun has been replaced by a cannon. Anyone can shoot them to pieces with just a single shot. Qin Luo, as the proof of Zhou's conjecture, the hope of the mathematical world, let me tell you a few words. Zhou Haizhong shoved the microphone into Qin Luo's hand. Chapter 100. Qin Boss, you are on fire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hope for the math community. Qin Luo took the microphone and laughed dryly. Old Zhou is serious. In fact, I'm just standing on the shoulders of giants and taking a small step forward. There is no hope in the mathematics community. Lying trough, Shuaba is so humble. Take it completely. For a time, various voices sounded in the hall. A humble scholar is the real scholar, and the host scholar value increases by plus 157. Hehe, who can tell me why the Shuaba value came so quickly? Haha. Neither salty nor bland, neither light nor heavy, just right. Zhou Haizhong looked at Qin Luo like this and smiled. What's the meaning of this hehe? Qin Luo was a little confused. Seeing that Qin Luo didn't speak, Zhou Haizhong showed a smile and continued, there is one more thing I forgot to tell you. I have done it before. If someone can prove Zhou's conjecture, I will personally give a sum of money as a reward. Cough, am I the kind of person who sees money in the Zhou Yuan? Qin Luo asked seriously, how much? 50,000. Thank you Zhou Yuan, I will definitely make persistent efforts to win the Goldbach conjecture. Qin Luo said, if there is no second half of the sentence, Zhou Haizhong will be very pleased, but now there are only 3 words unreliable left in the Zhou Hai Center. After the simple award ceremony, everyone went back to their homes, looking for their mothers. Qin Luo didn't make too many stops, and left the auditorium. When he went out, Qin Luo specially reminded Zhou Haizhong that he should not forget the reward. This kid is a talent. Looking at Qin Luo's back, Zhou Haizhong said with a smile. Wang Xuetzai sighed, it's a good person, but it's just a little utilitarian. If utilitarianism can make him continue to move forward on the road of mathematics, then I don't think utility is bad. Okay. I think he still needs to be quiet when doing research. If he can concentrate on his studies, he will definitely have a seat in the World Hall of Fame in the future. Wang Xuetzai shook his head. Throughout the history of China, those who are eager for quick success usually do not have much success in the end. Really? I don't think there is a conflict between utilitarianism and concentrated study. Zhou Haizhong smiled and said, this society is no longer the society you and I used to be, and now I can't even eat enough to eat. Who else has mind to learn? Wang Xuetzai smiled and didn't answer. Although their methods are different, the purpose is also for Qin Luo's sake. Back in the lounge, Qin Luo thumped and flew to the bed. He meditated on the system in his heart, and when he opened his eyes again, a silver picture scroll appeared in front of him. Host, Qin Luo to Math, LV5.English, LV1.Language, LV1.History, LV1.Geography, LV1.Creature, LV1.Demonstrate Zhou's conjecture, prove the non-local collapse theorem, and the remaining academic value. Is 13,520 points. Mathematics thriving. The remaining few subjects did not improve. Qin Luo wondered if he should give more effort to English. After all, in 2 weeks, they will take an international flight to the United States to participate in the IMO. At that time, wouldn't it be embarrassing if you couldn't understand a word of English? But just when Qin Luo just wanted to press the upgrade button, the door to the bedroom was suddenly knocked open. The figure of the little fat man Gong Yi appeared at the door. Boss Qin, you are on fire. A group of reporters came downstairs. Fire?